from 10 now. It's time for Beer Aware. We do it with the captain of beer. It's Steve Plowman. He is at Hallertau Beer, and we roll through the various beer styles every week. We've done a whole lot, really. We've gone through the light lager, the Pilsner, the dark lager, the Bock. And today, Steve, good morning.
Good morning, Wammo.
Today we're doing the English Pale Ale, specifically the Standard Ordinary Bitter.
Yes, Ordinary Bitter. It's the origins of the English cold, warm, flat beer scene, if you like.
Right. An ancient beer? Or not as ancient as perhaps the ones that we've already done?
No, it's actually relatively new beer style. Well, it's relatively new. I mean, they didn't really use hops in the UK until about 500 years ago.
Man, they were missing out.
Yeah, well, actually, they were illegal there for a while. Because they've been using them in Europe for 1,500 years.
Yeah.
But in England, they used to put, like, branches and twigs and stuff in their beer.
Right.
It was lying around.
Yeah, whatever.
It tastes like crap. So then they finally decided that hops were quite good. About 500 years ago.
But hops were illegal, what, because they were... Like marijuana's illegal now? That's sort of illegal?
You weren't allowed to brew with them because the Europeans were using them, and it was seen as a cheating way of making beer. You know, traditional English beer shouldn't be brewed with hops. You know, that's what those sort of racy European types are using. You know,
Yeah.
They have none of that.
The continent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, they used to have to use bits of rosemary or whatever they had lying around. Heather. I don't know. Times were tough.
Sounds like gin. That's what they do with gin, don't they?
Yeah, all sorts of botanicals.
Yeah.
Well, beer used to be like that, sort of, a long time ago in the UK. So this beer is, it's the quaffing beer of the English working class, if you like.
Right.
It's low alcohol. It tend to be between 3.2 and 3.8%. So it's all sub 4. So this is the beer that the, old English boys sitting around the pub all day drinking pints drink. It's low alcohol, it's low gravity, moderately hopped, quite refreshing, low carbonation. It's just a really, really nice quaffing beer.
Okay, and you won't fall off your chair.
No, you won't fall off your chair. Well, you can, but it's generally if you trip up because you're going to the toilet so much. So on the hand pull, the hand pump, it's traditional English cask ale, and then there are some draft versions, and they do some weird things to try and get it to work as a draft, like in cans and bottles.
Yeah. So some good examples of that in Auckland would be, it's a Galbraith's.
Galbraith's. You've got your Bob Hudson, which is a little bit over alcohol. It's about 4%. And at Hallertau, we sort of do a modern twist on it. We do the Minimus, which is 3.7%. But it's got a lot of American dry hops.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really fit into category. But it's a beer based on that sort of, moderate alcohol, good quaffing beer.
Do you like your beer served at sort of room temperature?
With the weather out there today, Wammo, yes, I do. It's all a weather-dependent sort of environment thing. So if you're in the middle of the UK winter and it's freezing and windy outside, having your beer at cellar temperature, 10 or 12 degrees, is quite nice.
Yeah.
That's appropriate for the environment and the weather and the temperature. But if you're sort of sitting on Bondi Beach.
Yeah.
It's 30 plus degrees. Having a 12-degree beer is absolutely pointless. That's when you need it cold and fizzy.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a style of beer that sort of grew to fit, the place it came from.
Yeah. Okay. So what's our overseas example?
Well, we've got a Tetley's, which is a pretty big name in English bitter. So they're calling this their Smooth Flow.
In a can.
It's in a can. And they're calling it a light English ale. So it's 3.6%. But what they've done with this one is they've put a widget in it. Now, the widget is something which is actually a pretty good invention. It was invented probably about 20 years ago, specifically for Guinness.
Yes.
To try and get that nitro feeling in a can. But the whole point of
what do you mean by nitro? Like a bubbly...
Well, the whole point of putting beer under dispensed with nitrogen is to create the same mouthfeel as you get from cask beer, but in a more stable environment. So what they do is they dissolve a small amount of nitrogen into the beer and a lot less CO2, and then they serve it through what's called a creamer, which is a small disc, and they force it through under pressure, and that sort of sparks the nitrogen out of solution and causes that nice sort of thick, creamy foam head you get, and that nice sort of creamy mouthfeel, even though it's basically almost flat.
Yeah.
So the widget, which I think was the greatest invention of the 20th century, I think it was well up there.
It's right up there, yeah.
So it's a little plastic ball you've got in your pint glass, and the beer is basically flat. But when you crack it, it pops a little seal on the widget, and blasts a little bit of nitrogen
Does it?
into the beer and gives you that instant, makes a specific noise too.
Okay. Oi! There's a party.
So there you go. So that's just sparked the nitrogen straight into your beer, and it's like, straight from the tap with nitrogen.
So it makes sense for this kind of beer to come from a can. It seems to.
Well, you can do it in bottles too.
Yeah.
I mean, but this.
Would you have the widget in the bottle?
Yeah, they do widgets. Those bottles of Guinness you buy.
Yep.
Got a widget in the bottle.
Okay.
The technology is quite impressive. It still doesn't replicate good cask beer on the hand pump. It's a nice idea and it's interesting, but to me, it sort of works, but doesn't really get you that flavour you're looking for. If you know what I mean.
And what we've got a date on that beer because it has come a long way.
Where are we? Best before October 2012.
Oh, that's all right then.
So that's reasonably good.
Might be the freshest overseas beer we've had yet.
Potentially. So it's quite attractive. It's a really nice sort of deep copper colour. Copper, gold.
Yep.
It's quite nice. And you do get that nice sort of thick creamy head from that little nitro action widget. Looks very nice. The aroma's a bit nothing really.
Bit flat on the aroma. We should be getting some good malt.
Yeah, should be malt focused. Some nice esters from the yeast as well. Should be quite fruity, quite subtle.
I can definitely smell the caramel.
You get that caramel, but it's hard to say whether that's from the malt character or whether it's sort of just a bit of age character in there. I want a bit more fruitiness from the yeast, really, and just a little bit of hop there as well would be nice.
Creamy mouthfeel.
Quite creamy, fairly non-offensive. You're getting a nice malt flavour.
Yep.
The bitterness is firm. It's actually not bad, 3.6%. Good quaffing bitter. You could drink that all day.
Yeah, it hasn't got that full flavour punch, has it? It just sort of sits back a little bit. It reclines a little, and it's just, you could quaff. Nice. Good temperature you've got to add as well.
Yeah, it's probably about right. It's probably sort of around 8 or 9, 10 degrees.
Well, that's not bad. I would never have picked that off the shelf, to be honest, because I was like, can, first of all. I'm not going to buy my beer in a can, thank you very much. And don't know anything about the beer, but now I do.
See, strange enough, a can is a better package than glass.
Is it?
Yeah, you get zero light getting through, which is good.
True.
And zero oxygen. Once it's sealed, it's sealed.
I definitely don't like drinking from the can.
Drinking from the can is not a very good thing to do, no. Because
the last third always seems flat. No matter how fast you drink it, it just loses its carbonation.
It does. And cans, they are lined with plastic, so there's no actual contact with the aluminium. But it is plastic against the beer as well, which is maybe not quite ideal.
Interesting. All right. So that was the Tetley's.
Tetley's. Smooth flow, light English ale.
All right. What's the local example?
Local one, we've got the Townsend Brewery, which is in Nelson.
I'm not familiar
up in
with
Motree.
Okay.
He's a little brewery. He's only got a 300-litre system, and he does English ales.
Yeah.
That's his thing. He bottles up a little bit, but most of his stuff is sold within Nelson. If you go to the Free House in Nelson, he's always got a couple of beers on there, and they're usually pretty damn good. He does some nice IPAs and some nice pale ales and some porters and brown ales. So this is his Bandsman, which is a hoppy English bitter, 3.7%.
Yep.
Again, he's using New Zealand hops, so it's a New Zealand take on the traditional English bitter.
No widget in the bottle?
No widget in this bottle. Reasonable carbonation, I think. Bit of fizz, but not too much.
So we won't have that same head characteristic?
Well, the head would be, it's just a CO2 beer.
Cheers.
But there's a nice little head on that. Colour's pretty good. Pretty similar. A little bit lighter than
a little bit lighter. Yeah.
But not bad. Quite a lot of fizz, actually.
Oh, definitely. Straight away.
There we go.
totally different on the nose. We've got these kiwi hops coming through straight away,
a lot
right?
Of kiwi hops. But there's a nice English ale yeast sort of character coming through as well. It's like nice fruitiness that goes nice and seamlessly with those New Zealand hops. If you're getting spice, you're getting sort of grapefruit. That's pretty good.
It's a pale ale, isn't it? Really?
Well, and the crossover between bitter and pale ale is significant.
Mm.
So technically, it's a bitter because the alcohol's lower.
Yeah.
But you could call it, a moderate alcohol pale ale, just as easily. It works just as well.
Quite
nice.
quite a good option if you're shopping for beer. You like your pale ales.
Yep.
But you don't want the shot to the head.
Yep. You're driving.
Perhaps. Go for the bitter.
Go for a bitter. I mean, this is that's a really nice beer. That's quaffable. I could drink that all afternoon. Good hoppy English bitter, but with New Zealand hops.
Yeah. Really nice. I like that.
Really good result.
Probably not. So it's only 300 litres, as you say, so probably not widely available.
It's not too bad, actually. New World Vic Park, again.
Yeah.
Had a couple of his beers in there. And I think your Liquorland's a pretty good shot, too.
Yep. Or that beer store online, the one...
Beer store?
Yeah.
That's worth trying as well.
Yeah.
But that's nice beer. I think, if you see that floating around the traps, it's worth a crack. Probably more a summer beer than a winter beer.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
But again, if you let that warm up to 12 degrees, that would work really well.
Cool. We've been looking at the ordinary bitter variety of beer. The two examples there, just to refresh, that was the Tetley's, the overseas one, smooth flow, and the local one was the
Townsend.
Cool. Captain of Beer, Steve Plowman, has been with us, and you'll find this as a video once more up at kiwifm.co.nz. Also check out Alatau on Facebook as well. See you next week.
Oh, and don't forget the City of Ales Festival.
Oh, yes, when's that?
That's the 23rd of September.
In Auckland?
June.
June this month.
I just gained 3 months. That's amazing. Q Theatre. So check out the Q Theatre website for tickets.
And so it's about a whole bunch of craft breweries from just around Auckland?
Just Auckland craft breweries.
Okay.
The 12 Auckland craft breweries.
Cool event. All right. Look out for that.